Well, hello there. Welcome to today's live stream. We will be talking about what we've been watching and also doing our top five shows yet to be released and also doing a fun game at the end. So, what have you been watching lately,
So what I've
Luke?
been watching. So I've been watching a mix of new stuff and old stuff. So
Hmm.
the first thing I've nearly finished the season. Last episode comes out today on Apple TV is Smoke. So you started to watch the first episode of this, I believe.
Finished the first episode.
You finished the first episode, and we were both it was on our list of anticipated shows, something we've been talking about for a while. So I'm 8 out of 10 episodes through, something like that. I'm still on the fence about this show. So to break down the premise, this is an Apple TV limited series. It's kind of introspective. It's based upon a book, but the character in the show is also writing a book. So I think the book he's writing is kind of the show that the book the book that the show's based on. I don't know. It's kind of like a full loop thing. So he's an arson detective, works for the fire brigade. I don't really understand how that works. He's not a cop. He's a firefighter, but he carries a gun. He works along an FBI agent, and they're trying to catch two arsonists. One has, they reckon it's done over 100 smallish fires in shops, and the other one has been killing people, setting alight fires. So him working alongside this FBI agent and trying to work that out. As all good shows have, there's some kind of twist to link it all in where the FBI agent, she was in a fire when she was a kid, and then that caused her to then kind of decide to go on this path to become military and then to become a FBI agent. So coincidentally, that brings her back to working in fires. This show I found enjoyable. My biggest criticism is I don't think the writers have a clue what they're doing. The premise is like a 10 out of 10, but the execution is like a 2. It has so many weird stuff that doesn't make sense, but the whole premise of this show of being an FBI, being a arson agent, being kind of addicted to fire, writing a book about your life, and then also the cops are kind of thinking, well, are you an arsonist? Some of the details in your book, only the arsonist would have known. So it's kind of incriminating themselves. It's a very cool concept, but their character development is terrible. It's a 1 out of 10. So I like the show, but I think that with the right people, it could have been a million times better because the casting in it is phenomenal. Taron Egerton is the main character in this. His acting is so good, but the way that they've written his character makes it look bad. They get him to be nice and then be like a psycho at the next scene, and it's good acting on his behalf, but the way that they link it together is terrible. So Smoke is probably the most controversial show I've been watching at the moment. I've been talking a while. Tell me a show that you've watched, then we'll come back to me.
Well, our other show I've been watching is North Shore. Actually finished it, and it's basically a concept between it's a Australian and British get involved with the police joining forces, and the concept is that this female politician within the British government, her daughter actually gets killed. So they have to start an investigation, and you find out the motives of why she gets killed. It's an okay show, but has the typical Australian acting not being as good as other things. It's a fine show. The main problem I have with it is that at the start, the female detective is actually pretty nasty and rude to the British detective, and then suddenly near the end of the show she becomes nice, and the writing just felt a little bit odd with that. But if you're looking for an Australian show, you could do worse than Northern Shore.
Okay, very cool. Where can you find this show?
Netflix.
It's on Netflix. Okay. Another show I've been watching is one of my favorite shows of all time, and that's Always Sunny in Philadelphia. So season 17 is out at the moment, so they're bringing out an episode a week, so I'm up to 4 episodes into that. Again, the writing in this show is very, very clever. The humor is very, very dark and not for everyone, but it's obviously for enough people if it's up to its 17th season now. But yeah, again, this show kind of hasn't dropped off. They've had 17 seasons, and there's no bad season to the point of I don't even know if there's a bad episode. There's some that are extremely funnier than the others, but there's none that aren't good or funny. So it's a top-notch show. So Always Sunny in Philadelphia. I just hope that they continue to keep bringing out content. They've kind of gone from doing 15 episodes a season to now 8. So I'm already halfway through the season. So that's sad. I might have to wait another 2 years for another one to come out. But still, extremely good show.
How many seasons do you think they'll do for it?
The show follows there's no overarching event. So provided the actors are able to, and provided that there is still an appetite for the show, it could go on forever. The characters don't progress. They don't get better. They don't. They're not working towards any particular goal. Each episode doesn't really carry on. The order is only somewhat important because there's references to episodes that you may not have seen, but there's no ongoing storyline. There's no, the first episode, it's, 4 friends that own a bar together. And, that's still 17 seasons on. It's exactly the same. The bar has not moved, changed, gotten better. They don't have kids, families. Their lives have not progressed in 17 seasons.
Wow.
So each episode is its own individual kind of gag that's generally about something going on in the news. So one of the episodes I watched the other day was kind of a play on this whole idea of people raw dogging life and going on planes and public transport and staring at just the seat in front of them and refusing to watch entertainment. This idea of getting back to nature and your primal roots. So they made a joke upon that where one of them was doing that, but then Charlie's character was instead eating raw hot dogs. So they play on this whole joke about that, and then there's also a thing about at dog racing that they put down the dogs. So they kind of make a reference to that where they think that dogs keep getting put down at the dog track, and then they end up upsetting someone by giving them misleading information, and then they think the person put down the dog but actually shot themselves. I know it doesn't sound funny, but if you watch the episode, it was oh, okay. It was kind of a clever joke on that. So each episode is kind of a clever joke on something that's going on in the real world. So I find it very funny. What's something else you've been watching?
I actually got into the second spin-off of Dexter, and that's Dexter Resurrection, and it is pretty good so far. It's definitely better than Dexter New Blood, and I think the thing that it's doing better than New Blood is that it's setting up the tension of the main OG show a lot better than the New Blood did, and it's also making being a serial killer very awesome again. But the main problem I have with it is that I think having Harrison, his son, involved in the show doesn't make it as interesting, because in the OG show, he didn't have anyone else to think about, but it just brings the other different element involved, because he kind of has to teach someone else about the ethic code and who you can kill with your instincts and things like that. But so far, I watched 3 episodes and it's pretty good. The main, I guess, problem I have is that there's this female detective that I think the writers have wrote that she's on the spectrum, but the way that they have wrote it, I think they have kind of given her that she basically has superpowers. They have basically wrote it that, she's different, and when she puts on music, she can just do amazing things, what to me is a bit off-putting, but besides that, it's worth watching.
Okay, so what's the difference in the spin-off? So is New Blood is set after the original?
Yes.
And then how's this? Is it still the same character Dexter in it, or?
Well, in New Blood, something happens to Dex that he gets basically revived, and then he needs to go and help Harrison.
Yeah. So is this set after New Blood?
Yes.
Why do you think they bothered to change the name, or is that what they're kind of doing instead of Well, like, you know what I mean? Like, usually when you make a separate spin-off, it's because one's a prequel, one's a sequel, one follows a different character. But if it's got the same characters, are they just calling them these because they're kind of like limited series? Is that why they?
Well, I did my research. New Blood, they actually just intended to do a limited series, but with Resurrection, they actually want to do more series with, and they want to do more with it. But Resurrection is because he was in hospital and he got resurrected.
Okay, cool. Well, I guess even if they were to like every time there's kind of like a change in theme and give it a new name, that's kind of unique. I can't think of any other show that does that, because usually shows that have lots of spin-offs. It's because they have different names because they're about different characters, or like prequels and sequels. Okay, that's cool. What else I've been watching? I've been watching new season of South Park. I think it's like season 22 or 23. 2 episodes of that are out. This show is completely, this season is taking a piss take on Donald Trump. So it's very funny. It's in the news a lot. I don't know how these guys get away with the things they do, but again, it's very similar to Always Sunny, where they take something that's going on in the real world and then put a, like a satirical spin on it. Like the first 2 episodes of South Park are about Donald Trump being like basically a Iranian dictator opposed to being the president of America. Him actually being in a relationship with Satan, which is a story arc they used to have years ago with Saddam Hussein. He was dating Satan, so now they've replaced Saddam Hussein with Donald Trump, trying to imply that he's like Saddam Hussein.
Okay.
They kind of, again, making fun of different like people in the real world. They have this play on joke about, in America, that apparently like religion's becoming more popular in schools, but apparently it's against the law. Religion is not meant to be pushed on you in schools in America, even though Americans are very religious. So they make this whole joke about, there's so much Jesus in our school, like this whole, like when people talk about, like religion, it's, there's religion in school, they're talking about religion, all they talk about is Jesus. So the kids are saying that, but the whole play on this is, at the school, Jesus is actually there. Like, Jesus is hanging out in their school and wants to eat lunch with the kids, and the kids are bullying Jesus and don't want to hang out with Jesus. So they're kind of like making a play on the fact of like, Jesus is in school, but like their joke is that he actually is in the school. So it's a funny show. Like, again, very dark humor and not for everyone, but it's continued to bring out season after season. I think they sold the rights of it to Paramount for like $2 billion or something. Like, they are worth so much money now, the guys that created South Park. What else have you been watching?
Final thing I've been watching, and that's actually the first episode of Alien Earth, and it is definitely a slow burn at the start, but eventually when it gets going and it wants to do what it wants to do, with telling you about the 3 main different AI intelligence and doing its main story. It's a really excellent sci-fi, and it reminds me of the same theme as Alien Romulus, and it's actually a prequel to the first Aliens movie, and the vibe is definitely as intense and has the same charm and technology as Aliens 1 and 2 as well. And it's interesting that even though it's in the high future that they have 80s technology, what's funny, but if you want to watch an excellent sci-fi and you want to see different creatures and insects and things and more horror scenes, it's definitely the show for you. And definitely looking forward to seeing how the show goes from here.
I'm interested to watch this. Like, I've only seen one Aliens movie, and that was Romulus, and I did enjoy it. So I think this could be cool if it's a prequel, because it might get me more excited to watch the other Alien movies. And I found the premise of Alien Romulus quite interesting, so I might give that a watch. For me, I've watched a few other things. In terms of older stuff, I've been continuing to work my way through The Neighborhood, which is a show on...
How's that going?
Yeah, good. I think I'm in the 4th season.
How many seasons are there?
I think 7. I think it's still going. So it's got Cedric the Entertainer's in it, and the main male character, he's in The New Girl. This is, the premise of the show is black neighborhood, a white family moves in. The first season is all those kind of jokes about, yeah, you don't understand white people and you don't understand black people and all these, like, you know, saying the wrong things and it kind of be semi-racist. And then I was like, how long can that continue on? Until now it's a bit more funny and there's things going on. So it is a good, easy watch of a show, and it is kind of just reminiscent of like your old kind of sitcoms, you know, the Everybody Loves Raymond, Friends, kind of like the ones that you could just sit down and watch, put an episode on and get a cheap laugh. So it's good enough. That, been watching Eastbound and Down. So there's 4 seasons of that. That's a show with Danny McBride in it. It's got other notable characters are what's his name? Will Farrell. I think Will Farrell's got something with the writing of it. This show's like maybe 10 years old. So Danny McBride's character is a former disgraced famous baseball player who's a pitcher, but he's like drug addict, like alcoholic, like, you know, just done dumb things. Eventually got kicked out of baseball, returned back to his hometown. He had this dream of returning back to the big leagues. So it just follows him basically being a degenerate, doing bad things, but wanting to be a baseball player again. He's like, you know, like a typical hick kind of thing. So it has its funny moments, but I can see why it only had 4 seasons in it. There's really, you just run out of things to do. So yeah, I've just finished season 3, about to start the final season. So that's interesting. And in terms of movies, I watched Bride Hard the other night. The other day. It was definitely a bad movie. Like, it has poor reviews. It stars Rebel Wilson and Anna Kemp. She's from Pitch Perfect as well. The whole premise is that what's her name? Rebel Wilson's character is a spy.
Okay.
And her childhood best friend is getting married. She like hasn't been able to attend any of the wedding things because she's been busy being a spy. She asked them to move the bridal, not the bridal shower, like not like the opposite of a Bucks weekend. Like maybe it's called a bridal shower, but they to go away. Bride's weekend. I don't know. So they decided to go out, and she asked them to move to Paris because she's got a mission there. But they all think she's like a cat entrepreneur, and she can't really explain what that means. But it's like she runs cat fashion shows or something.
Okay.
So they go there. She completes the mission, and this is like in the first 5 minutes, 10 minutes of the movie. And she gets kicked out of the team because basically she completes the mission at all cost, and she like bashes the shit out of her own spies to try and complete the mission. So she saves the day, but they're like, "You can't work as a team. We don't want you part of us anyway. Like leave." So then she gets told that her next mission is to go to the wedding because they're like, "We want you to have a life. Like, you know, you're devoted to your career." So she goes to the wedding, and then so this wedding's on like this private island in America, like off Georgia, and like her friend that's getting married is getting married to someone super wealthy. Like they've owned alcohol distilleries through thousands of years in their family. Like they're very, very rich. So they own an island, and then so happens to be while she's there, these like people that hate this family have organized to rob them and take all the gold out of their vault. So she happens to be there whilst this goes down, and she like saves the day because she's a spy. So it's funny. I definitely laughed at it, but the writing is bad. Like there's some things that don't make sense whatsoever, but I chuckled. There was some funny one-liners in it. But yeah, I think if you like that kind of dumb, you know, Rebel Wilson type comedy, you'll find it entertaining, but it's a movie you wouldn't watch a second time. It's like maybe a 5 out of 10 at best. Yeah, so that's what I've been watching.
What has been the best thing you've watched?
It's hard to go past Always Sunny in Philadelphia. Very consistent. Smoke should have been the best thing I've watched, for sure. The premise of that is fantastic. The execution is... the acting's good, but the writing is just dumb. It's kind of like, you know, they've written this story and they've gone, yeah, but we really want this to happen. And then someone's gone, well, that doesn't make sense. You didn't build that up. It's like, oh, people won't notice it. Let's just chuck in and mention something that never happened before, or throw in a character. No one knows that we've never seen this person before. It's just really odd writing. But the premise is like no other.
Do you feel like the problem with Smoke is that they added in the 2 arsonist element instead of making it about one arsonist? And then maybe what they should have done, instead of making it a limited series, they should have made it that Chester Egerton character actually becomes the arsonist at the end of season 1, and then season 2 can be like the downfall, and then him.
It's exactly that. They have. It looks like they've crammed 2 seasons into one
Mm.
because they solved the dilemma of the big arsonist pretty much halfway through the season. So the second half is a whole different story of the FBI trying to catch him.
Mm.
Well, that should have been the second season.
Mm.
So I think the first season should have been trying to catch this arsonist that's killing people, and then the way he catches him in the end, that should have been the end of the season. Ignore all this, seeing that he's the arsonist. Just drips and drabs. I'm talking about Taron Egerton's character being the second arsonist, and then maybe at the end of the first season, reveal it. So then cliffhanger. The next season is the cops, because basically they build a special task force that go undercover to try and catch him, and he works it out. He knows that they're trying to catch him, so he's like playing a game with them basically, and like that should have been a second season. I think it's obvious they've merged them together and they've rushed things because of that. So as I was saying, he goes from being the nice likable guy, nothing strange, nothing suspicious, to like flips a switch, and then we're meant to just assume he's an absolute psychopath. And you're like, you didn't build that very well. And then they try and backtrack and bring up that, oh yeah, I'm like that because this happened to me, and because of that happened to me in my childhood. It's like, well, you didn't plant that. Now you're just telling us that now after the fact. So like, for instance, he catches this arsonist. The arsonist, like, I don't think there's too much spoil. They catch the arsonist, and the arsonist is like, I want to speak to the guy that called me. He won't speak to anyone else because I want to speak to him. So he goes in to interview him, and the arsonist is like asking him questions that there's no way he would know. He's like, who abused you as a kid? Who did you wrong? Was it your mum? Like, and you're like, well, how does this guy that's clearly got a mental disability, how would he know this about this guy? And he's probing him. It's like it's like they're trying to make out that arsonists know other arsonists.
Yeah, like serial killers, no other
Yeah,
serial
it's like his only interaction with Taron Egerton is the 5 minutes where he arrests him, and somehow he knows everything about him. He knows he's an arsonist, to the point of like he's like asking him all these questions, and he's like, that's the end of the interview, and he walks out and he's like starts throwing up because he's so distraught by these questions that this guy asked him. It's like, that is just the worst writing ever. Yeah, so no one knows that he's an arsonist, but the main arsonist knew within 1 second. Like, you're like, come on. Yeah, it's very, very weird. And it has like these weird sexual things that go through it. So
the dancing.
yeah, so it needs 2 seasons. And then I think it should have been split into 2. And I think they needed to actually show the progression of him becoming a psychopath, opposed to just showing him as a psychopath and then later on trying to explain it, going, oh, I'm that way because this happened. It's like, no, you need to build it up. You can't just explain it. That's not enough. Like, usually, you know how in shows, when they catch the serial killer, they at the end go, oh, like when the big reveal, they go, oh, well, this is how I did it. This is how I got to get away with it. They're not doing that. They're just like explaining it. They're like, yeah, I've always been like that, and this is why. It's like, you need to show us that. Yeah, I thought that was bad. So that's disappointing. That show has crazy potential that it will not live up to.
Yeah. Do you think it was a ruined potential that they actually made it a limited series, and it's a show that was actually ruined by being a limited series?
I think so. It's somehow, I haven't read the book, but it's developed from a book. So in the show, he is writing a book about an arsonist, about an arson detective that's like a hero, and everyone loves him. He saves the day, he goes and solves all these crimes, and and they're trying to make out that he's all like, he wants to be a hero, and then he likes to be the center of attention, and when he's not, that's when he goes crazy and burns stuff down. That's what they're trying to build this idea around. So if he goes to a bar and he tries to pick up a girl and she says no, he then goes and sets fire to something. And they're trying to make out this connection of why he's a psycho, and that he always wants to be the center of the attention, and he's jealous of police officers because he's only a fireman, and I can see where they're going. They just didn't develop it right. So again, so it came from a book. So I don't know if the book is any better, but he's writing this book, and then also the cops are trying to use the people that are helping him write the book to try and get him to incriminate himself and dog himself in, which again is a really clever premise. But I just wonder, because this book the real book in our world that is based upon semi-true events. Like, did this actually happen? Was someone an arsonist and a fireman, and they wrote a book, and then they got caught, and now this book is what the show is based upon? I don't know. I need to do my research, but to me, it seems like it was written by someone that doesn't know how to write a book, which is kind of what they're making out with this guy, that he has a good idea, but everyone says his book's a bad idea because they're like, you don't know how to write. So it's almost like, is it a documentary opposed to being a show? Yeah, it's very strange. So I think you should watch it. It's just, I think you'll get the same feed. You'll feel the same. You go, this could have been really good. Like, this really could have been good.
Do you think they do a better element with the first arsonist or with him as the arsonist?
I think they build up the first arsonist way better, you know, and then they find a way to link him back into other characters. And then again, even that it's a major plot twist, but the characters in the show don't even acknowledge it, which I think is a bit odd. Yeah. So I don't know. I don't want to ruin it for you. I think you should definitely watch it, but I think you'll have the same critical lens as me where you watch and go, that's dumb. That could have been better. Because sometimes you watch shows and, you know, they're just bad. That's not the case with this. It's just a really good premise that was poorly executed.
Yeah.
Okay, so the other thing you want to talk about was our top 5 shows yet to be released.
Yes.
Do you want to kick us off? What is your number? So this is shows yet to come out in 2025. Do you want to kick us off?
My number 5 yet to be released is with Ted Danson on Netflix, and that's The Inside Man. Season 1, I believe, came out last year, 2024, and it said it might come out this year, depending on how production goes. So season 1 was an excellent comedy, and on Rotten Tomatoes, it actually got 93 or 94%. It's very highly rated, and it's a superb comedy. Basically, from the title, he's an inside man trying to remember. He is sent in to work out if someone was murdered or something, but it's worth giving it a watch, and I'm excited for season 2 to see where he is going to be sent and what's going to happen.
At number 5, I've got The Chair Company. The reason I put this at number 5 is because I actually know nothing about this show except for who's in it. So it's written and starring Tim Robinson, which is one of my favorite skit show style comedians. So just based upon the fact that he's in it, I'm very excited. But I couldn't tell you what it's about. It's just the fact that he's in it is like a must watch for me. I really enjoyed his show. I Think You Should Leave. All 3 seasons of that. His movie released this year called Friendship with Paul Rudd. I didn't think it was his best work, but it's rated really highly and people think it was hilarious. But he is extremely funny. So whatever this is about, I want to see it. So it's number 5 because of that.
Good choice.
What have you got at number 4?
My number 4 is on Disney Plus, and it's Percy Jackson. Season 1 was superb and fantastic, and very much looking forward to season 2. I've seen the trailer and it looks fantacular, but I'm a little bit concerned with how it's going to go because it is based off the second book, and because my expectations are more higher for the second season, because for season 1 I didn't have as much. Season 2 I'm expecting more, so that's why it's here a bit lower because of more expectations. But if they can bring the A game, very, very hope they do.
At number 4, I've got a show called Chad Powers. This show is going to star Glenn Powell, who you know from Twisters. The movie last year was Sydney Sweeney in it, filmed in Australia that everyone went nuts for. He's kind of like the it guy for a little bit there. You know, strikingly handsome, very funny. From what I've read, this sounds very interesting. It's a sports comedy show about a college NFL player that gets like disgraced, so he kind of changes up his identity. So from the screens, the footage I've seen of it's like him playing college football wearing this ridiculous wig. So I think there's going to be, yeah, it just looks like it might be a lot of fun. I have to see if there's a trailer out there yet. I don't know, but the fact of, again, Glenn Powell being in it and it being a sports comedy, that's kind of right down my alley. So that's at number 4 for me.
Sounds good. Mine number 3, and this is the most ongoing show on this list, and that's season 5 of Slow Horses, and it's on Apple TV Plus. Very much looking forward to it, and it is also based on a book series. So I don't know what season 5 is going to be about, but if it keeps up the same trend and production and everything about it, it's going to be amazing. Gary Oldman, his character and everything, I hope it's as good and it brings the magic and it keeps the storyline going.
Okay, cool. So at number 3, I have got Nobody Wants This. So this is a show on Netflix that came out last year, starring Adam Brody and it's not Anna Kendrick. Her name is Kirsten Wiig. That's right. So I really enjoyed this first season. Yes, it's a rom-com, but it kind of broke the rules of the standard rom-com where someone does something to upset the other partner, and you always look and go, if they just told the truth or if they didn't hide that from them, this problem wouldn't have happened. Where this, because they're a bit older, they're in their 40s, they kind of do what people would actually do. So when one person, upsets the other, they apologize for it, or I don't know, it feels real. I think that's nice, like opposed to like your teen dramas where you just sit there going, if they just were honest, or if they didn't try and keep secrets, or those shows where like they break the vase, and instead of just admitting they break the vase, they go on this journey to find another vase, and yeah, something like that. It's like they just admit fault, and I don't know, it's just simple and fun, and I think it simulates what dating is like for people older, in their mid-40s. So I find it has a lot of funny moments in it. Also, as a different twist where Adam Brody's character is like a handsome rabbi, and like he's tied through his religion, and he's not meant to date or marry someone that's not of the same religion. Kirsten Wiig's character is not that case. She's she's I guess Catholic or non-denominational maybe, and it's just trying to see how that works. It adds an interesting religious element to it, but it's not a religious show. No, it's just different to see it. It's funny. You've got to watch it to understand it, but it breaks the normal rules that you see in rom-coms, which is nice. Yeah, even the characters around the main characters and the things they do. Like, for instance, like you always see like the two best friends that like are the two friends of the main characters that argue, but then they end up getting together. They just don't do that. They just breaks all the stereotypical things you expect to happen, which is just kind of a breath of fresh air. Yeah, so that is number 3 on my list. Nobody Wants This on Netflix.
Sounds awesome.
Yeah, what have you got number 2?
My number 2 is season 2 of Peacemaker, and from the trailer, this looks like it's going to be a fantastic multiverse sort of carnage show, and very much looking forward to seeing how they're going to bring the Peacemaker into the DC new universe, and hopefully they keep the same family charm and the same charisma with the characters. I am a little bit worried that it's not going to hit as much as season 1, but I do have faith. I do think James Gunn does know how to write comedic characters and serious characters, so even though I didn't like his writing with Superman, I do think he knows how to write James Gunn because he's a funny character, and very much looking forward to see how they deal with the multiverse and different things like that, and yes, very hyped for it.
Yeah, at number 2, I've got the exact same show as Jacob with Peacemaker. It's only, I think, a week away from coming out. We got the teaser of, we got to see Peacemaker in the latest Superman movie. We know James Gunn's style of writing, and very similar to what Jacob said, Is it right for Superman? I don't know, but is it right for Peacemaker? Yes.
Yes.
Peacemaker is definitely a satirical character. He's silly in nature. I think, the first season was outrageous, but still really good. This could almost be about nothing more than just watching Peacemaker be Peacemaker, and it would still be a fun show. So yeah, very much looking forward to season 2 of Peacemaker. I'm guessing we're going to have number one, both the same number one. So why don't you do it for both of us, Jacob? What have we got at number 1 here?
Well, my number 1 and Luke's number 1 is Fallout Season 2, and I'm pretty much certain that it's got hyped for it because Season 1 did a fantastic job of bringing someone that hasn't played the game at all, and for someone that has to be united and looking forward to watching each episode, and the storyline was fantastic, and very much looking forward to seeing where season 2 takes us. And it also did a fantastic job of telling its own storyline, unlike The Last of Us, but very much hyped to see where it goes, and hopefully it keeps up the same production quality and storytelling as season 1.
Yeah, I really like season 1 of Fallout. Looking forward to season 2. I thought for me, what I liked about it was I hadn't played the games and I didn't need to. It didn't follow what was going on with the games. Fortunately, Fallout is kind of set up in a way that it can have all these spin-offs, and I'm glad they didn't try and just take a game and then just put it on the big screen. Instead, they've gone with a new storyline, a spin-off as such, and it works really well. I think Fallout's a really cool world. It kind of feels a bit too realistic too. Feels like this could happen to us.
It can.
And, it's also, as much as it's fun and action-packed, it also has an element of politics to it that feels very real. So I think it's a really, really interesting show, and I can see why the games have had so much success. I've had a dabble at the games. I think they're good quality, but it's maybe not just for me. It's not the type of games that I like playing, but the shows are definitely the type of shows I'm into. So I think it pleases previous fans, it invites new fans, and then it brings in neutral people to me that really don't have an interest in the games, but I'm really excited about the show.
Yeah.
Cool. So that's our list. The other thing we want to do is we're going to play a little game where I've asked ChatGPT to find 20 movies. So I've picked superhero ones. So I feel like that's kind of, something that we know quite a bit about, or, can be fun with this. And we're going to have a guess at trying to guess the Rotten Tomatoes score on it. And then ChatGPT will tell us the answer. I think this could be fun because superhero movies are wild. You think it's a good movie, but then it gets a really low score. And then you think something was really bad and gets a really high score. So I think it can be a lot of fun, opposed to if we go to the top 20 movies of all time, we know they're going to be high. This could vary crazily.
It can.
So first on the list, it's got Iron Man from 2008. What do you think the score for Iron Man is, and do you have a reason behind why you think it would get this score?
I'm going to go with 80%, and the reason is that I think for its time, I think it was a groundbreaking, simplistic movie, but because not everyone knew Iron Man that much, I don't think the critical or more casual fans would have liked it as much, but I think the critics would have liked Robert Downey Jr.'s performance. So I think 80%.
So 80%. And I guess you don't have to give a number for the fans, but do you think the fans would have given it higher or lower than the critics?
Maybe 75%.
So I'm thinking, in terms of numbers, my thought is I reckon the critics would have thought this was really good. I reckon the fans rated it low, but it built over time. Now people look back and love the Iron Man films. I reckon it first came out, it probably wasn't as favoured by the fans. So you say 84.
80%.
80%. I'm going to go 75. let's see. We may not do all 20. We might just go the first couple. I just thought we'd get 20 in case we're flying through them. So, number one, Iron Man got a critic score of 94%.
Wow.
That is extremely high. That's up there with some of the best films with an audience score of 94%.
Okay.
So it was equal. That is crazy. I did not think that it would be that high. Not saying I didn't think it was good. It's just superhero movies don't tend to score well because, they're not for everyone. Makes
And it
me
was
wonder.
the first one as
Yeah,
well.
it makes me wonder, where does Avengers Endgame sit then if that's at 94? So next on the list, we've got Avengers from 2012. What do you think score that we've got?
Definitely not as high as Iron Man. I'm thinking 85%.
85. So that got 94. The first Avengers I don't think was
As good.
that good, but I think the fans probably would have rated it highly because of the characters, but I think the critics would have seen through that. I'm going to go 88%. It got a score of... told me Iron Man again. It got a score of 91%.
Okay.
So again, high. So we got two in the 90s. I wonder if it's giving us this list as in order of best to worst. Maybe. We'll see how it goes. If it keeps following that trend, that's a bit cheeky because then we kind of know. Okay, so 91%. So again, we're a bit off. Number 3, we've got Guardians of the Galaxy from 2014. What do you think that would have scored?
I'm going to go 89.
I reckon people really like that. But again, that's fans. Critics, yeah, I'm gonna go 90. Let's see. Oh, stop giving me Iron Man. Keeps going back to the start. So number 3, we have got a score of 92%. And the audience also gave it 92%. Again, very, very high. Okay, here we go. I think we're going to get one that's a bit lower. What do you think Captain America and the Winter Soldier from the same year, 2014, got?
Winter Soldier. I think the critics love that movie. I'm going to go 95.
95. I feel like critics would have really liked Civil War, but Winter Soldier. I think maybe we might get a low one here for one. I'm going to go 85. Yeah. Original. So 90%. No, they're sitting pretty strong. Number 5, Black Panther from 2018. This is a tricky one because it's kind of like, is the movie good or is the message of the movie good? So, I think critics love this. I think, African American fans really liked it. Us as Caucasian fans were like, we respect it, but don't necessarily, we may not have the same calling or association with the film. So like we may not appreciate it in the same way. I kind of looked at it at face value and was like, it's okay, but it's not going to hit me the same as someone that shares the similar skin color as those of the actors. So it doesn't have the same message. I reckon critics went nuts for this. Like,
I'm going to go 96.
Yeah, I was going to go like 98 or something.
Yeah. We'll see.
96. I've got one correct. Spot on. Rotten Tomatoes also didn't publish the audience percentage. The film earned an A+ on Cinema Score. Okay. Number 6, Avengers Infinity War. What do you think that got?
90.
Infinity War. It was pretty light. I think you know, did people like the cliffhanger or do they hate it? I feel like, did you like this more than Endgame?
Yes.
Yeah, I felt the same too. So I reckon it'd be high. What'd you give it?
90.
I reckon it's gonna be high. I'm gonna go 95. $85.
Oh.
That's wow. And the audience gave it higher than the critics, which hasn't been the case for the other ones. Very interesting. I wonder why it got so low. Were people upset about all the snap that happened at the end? Okay, let's follow it up with Endgame then. So if 87 for Infinity War, what do you think people thought of Endgame?
89.
89. I don't know, I feel maybe people loved Endgame. 96. $96. So the only two we both correctly guessed one, and both been 96%. An audience score of 92. Okay, let's do one more in the MC universe, and then we'll swap over to the DC. So number 8, we've got Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness. This could be a wild. This is one of those ones that could be wild. I found it a lot of fun, but from memory, I think most people hated it.
Yeah.
Where are you thinking it sits?
70%.
Yeah, I think it's going to be a low one. I'm going to go 75. $74. Okay, that makes sense. Okay, let's swap over to DC. What about The Dark Knight from 2008?
95.
95. I feel like this was the one that people liked the least out of the lot, and like that was kind of, we moved out of the kind of fun Batman to the serious era. So I reckon maybe people, you know, rated it low. Critics probably gave it a low. Oh no, but that'd be people. What about critics? I'm going to go 91. $94. Audience gave it the same score. Okay, what about The Dark Knight Rises?
98.
I'm going 96. Seems to be the good luck charm. 96. 87.
Oh, wow.
The audience gave it 90. I wonder why. That was the last in the trilogy or the second one? That's not with Heath Ledger. No, which one was Heath Ledger?
The other one.
Yeah, okay. Interesting that performed so poorly. People not like the whole Bane character. I don't know. Okay. Wonder Woman. Here's a mixed one. This could be anything. Wonder Woman.
80.
I'm going to go like 65. $93. How? The movie was. I do like it. I maybe I'm just thinking about how much I disliked the second one. Okay, maybe it was better than I thought. Okay, how about the Batman from 2022?
99%.
99. I reckon. I go 98. We'll go reveal. Okay, so last one. Reveal number 16. Batman. 90%. Worse than Wonder Woman.
Don't know.
Oh no, that's the Suicide Squad.
Oh.
Why did you give me the wrong one?
I was going to say.
Reveal 16. That's pretty high for Suicide Squad. I thought that movie was terrible. Both of them, I think, were terrible. The Batman, even worse, 85%.
Wow.
How is this possible? So the Suicide Squad is, critics think the Suicide Squad is better than the Batman, which is maybe one of my favorite movies of all time. I guess that's my own personal preference, but I could see why the average fan might have found it boring. But I just would have thought lovers of movies would have really appreciated it, and Batman lovers would have appreciated it. The average fan, maybe not, but what do I know? I'm not a critic, am I?
No, that was surprising.
Okay, that's a little fun game to do. Okay, so before we start to wrap this up, is there any things you want to talk about? So we've covered our top 5 shows we're looking forward to coming out this year. Obviously, we're more than halfway through, so we've had a lot of big shows. Yeah, well, any other last minute topics you want to go over?
Well, from that result, should we take critics at their word?
Well, I think critics have a job. Their job is to be critical. When we review things, we know that we're reviewing things from a certain lens. So, to be honest, if I was looking at whether a movie was good or not, I'm going to look at the fan score. I think that is to me the best judgment, because if people find it fun, then it probably means it's fun. If people think it's rubbish, then it probably is rubbish. There is the rare outlier where, it's an artsy film, so the average person doesn't get it, but then the critics see beyond that. But I think when you delve into that territory, you would know that it's that type of film. Take Happy Gilmore, for instance, number 2. I haven't looked at that, but I assume the critics have torn that apart and said that, it was a bad movie. But I'm sure that the fans found it fun. So, because that's a comedy movie, I'm going to take the fans at it. If a fan thinks a movie's funny and it's meant to be funny, then it's probably funny. If I'm going to watch a movie that's, about, a detective crime thriller and the critics say it's good and the fans don't, I'm probably going, well, the critics are not looking at it in terms of was this entertaining or not. They're breaking it down to was it a good crime thriller. So I think it's to do with genre. What are your thoughts on it?
Sometimes there's biases. Sometimes I don't know if they do get paid, but I think sometimes they are motivated to give a movie a higher score, but sometimes they're not. But I think it's worth taking both scores at the merit and coming up with your own conclusion with what you like and watch, because where everything's subjective, everything's art. Someone might like something and go, oh, the critics gave it something, and go, how does that happen? Even though things are seen differently.
Yeah, I also think when deciding to watch something, I like to look at the trailer. I know the trailer can be misleading. I've definitely seen a lot of good trailers and then been disappointed by the content when I've seen the full thing. But I can't think of many times when I've seen a show or movie and the trailers look bad and then it's been good. It's usually, oh, this trailer looks great. Oh, it was good. Or that was so bad, the trailer was misleading. I can't think of a time when I've watched a trailer and gone, this looks so bad, there's no way I want to watch that. Someone's convinced me and they've gone, oh, they got it wrong. Because trailers are usually, they're trying to show...
Selling point.
They're trying to sell it. So if something is actually good, why would they sell it as bad? You could definitely sell something as bad and make it look good, but I think the opposite doesn't happen. So I do think there's a lot of merit in trailers. Also, I go into most movies open-minded. So, if I see a trailer and it looks fun, I'll give this a watch. I'll be open-minded. And if I walk out of it and go, well, that was rubbish, it's okay. I'll cop that because I was willing to give it a crack. So, yeah, I think trailers, deciding between critics and the public, it's got to do with the genre. I'm not going to trust the. And there's also certain things, if this is something that's seriously fandom around it, you also can be really skewed by the public because they could have rose-colored glasses on it and see things as just being, ridiculously good when it's not really. I think it's something like Wicked. I really enjoyed Wicked, but that movie has so many fans that I think a lot of people were just blown away the fact that the movie was made. So they were going to say it was good no matter what. But then something like Star Wars fans hate on. They're the biggest haters around. Yeah. So anything new Star Wars, they just say it's shit. And I don't trust them because that's just what their fans are like. So there's no correct answer. It's really horses for courses. So comedies, I'll go for fans. Artsy movies, I'm going with critics. And then you also got to weigh up what type of fans are of this movie, and should you trust them if you're not one of them, if you're a neutral observer. That's my thoughts.
Yeah, interesting discussion. Well, as always, thank you for watching. Hope you enjoy the live stream, and see you in the next video or live stream. Have a good one. Bye bye.
See ya.